Hello and welcome to the Cloud Blue Podcast post-match reaction, sponsored by NordVPN. For the best discount code available, there's a link in the description. I feel a little bit rusty, Neil. I don't know about you, although you've just done a podcast, so you shouldn't be rusty. But I feel like I've not done anything for weeks, even though I have. I've not been at the game this evening, so I've been a bit under the weather over the last couple of days. So we're here sooner than usual, and not with Matt Kendrick. I'm joined by Neil Dunworth. Neil, how's things, mate?
Things are great, but I'll tell you one thing, that yeah, I hit the censor button. I know I'm just trying to lighten the mood. I think small, but I've had the I suppose I don't know whether the joy or the beauty of doing a 20-minute synopsis of trying to get my thoughts in order after that one. But it's just a game whereby we've seen that movie like 4 or 5 times already this year. And that's the annoying part. It's hard for me not to feel like, lads, you've done it again. You know, I'm not even disappointed. I'm not even mad anymore. I'm just disappointed. You know, it happened against Ipswich, happened against Bournemouth, it happened against Forest. Although we lost that game, happened again today. You know, we get ourselves into a position of being a front runner, and then we don't seem to want to kick on and invite trouble upon ourselves, and then kind of get what we deserve.
Yeah,
and that didn't happen last year, and it's happened way too many times for my liking this year, and that's been the big difference.
Yeah, that is absolutely the frustration that we're doing the same things over and over again. It's the definition of insanity, isn't it? Doing the same things and expecting different results. Yet here we are talking about Villa throwing points away again for the, what you say, 4th, 5th, 6th time this season, potentially more. And that's not something we did last year. We'd get into good positions and then see out the game, pick up plenty of points and qualify for the Champions League. And we might still do that. Look, we might still finish in the Champions League places. But as each week goes by and as each time Villa play and concede silly crap goals, that task becomes harder and harder. And it will get to a point where if they don't fix up quickly, we are looking at a top 6 would be a pretty good season. Top 10 would be a pretty good season, and our aspirations kind of dissolve in front of our eyes. There's still plenty of time to fix things, but as we've seen over the last, 6 to 8 weeks, things haven't really changed. Things haven't really improved on the whole. Yes, we've picked up some good results over that period, but by and large, we do the same thing over and over again, and we throw away silly goals, throw away points. And ultimately, we come onto these podcasts that we all do, and as fans, we all chat down the pub or at work or on WhatsApp or whatever it is, and we're all saying the same things. We all feel like we've seen this script once before, and one too many times. You bang on.
That's the annoying part about it, is that, like, there needs to be a bit of a freshness. Like our defense, like it's hard to be confident with any of our centre halves at the moment. You know, it's like, put it this way: if you were to truthfully have a debate with anybody about the way our defense is going at the moment, and say, right, we've got 4 centre halves. We've got 4 centre halves who have 3 of them have played for their country, and Diego Carlos was probably unlucky during his stint with Seville to not play for his country. And I look at all 4 of those at the moment, and I'm kind of going, they all have their qualities. Don't get me wrong. I can look at all of them and say, yeah, they're good. But like, as the season goes on, you're less and less confident of having 2 centre halves from that group of 4. Now, we're probably only going to have that group of 3 now going forward. I think Pau Torres broke his ankle. Or not his ankle. I think he broke a bone in his foot. Just because
something like that, didn't it?
Yeah, the assistant came over and made this signal to Emery, and that means break, could mean snap and whatever. I don't know, but didn't look good. So we're probably down to 3, and you know, there will need, like, the freshness. There needs to be a bit of freshness in the back line, whether it's and the problem is the 2 players we can bring in. One of them's an 18-year-old that Unai Emery probably doesn't feel is up to it, and then Matson's coming in for probably our only defender who's been solid this year.
Yeah. The one good change we can make is a player that we probably don't really need to make anyway, because Dean is the best performer of that defence. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I'm
going to make a bold prediction here, which may or may not be bold. We'll see whether it comes true in the next few weeks. If Torres is out for a considerable spell, whatever we don't know at this stage whether how serious that injury is. Let's say it's going to be 10 games. Let's just say. I think
Broken foot, it could be.
I think you'll see an upturn in our form with Mings playing in there. And I really like Pau Torres. I think he's a great footballer. Note the word footballer there rather than defender. And he's absolutely pivotal in the way that we play going forward and when we're playing well and we've got time and space to play the way we want to. But when we haven't got that and we're not kind of ticking along nicely, Pau Torres is not ineffective because he's still a very good player. But I think the back four that we saw in 22-23 of Cash, Conson, Mings, Dean, potentially Matson, I think that if we settle on that back four for 10, 12 games, whatever this spell is of no Pau Torres, I think that is a better back four than what we're playing at the moment. Conson at right back, it's not an
Conson
option.
at right back it's done. It's done.
Conson Mings a good central defensive pairing, and I think if we see that, I'm not going to say we're suddenly going to start doing what Forest are doing and we're going to we're in a title challenge here or whatever. But I think you'll see a bit of an upturn in form if we settle on that back four now.
It's like you just don't get what you need putting Conzo at a right back. You don't get what you need. Like, I know I've just come from my own podcast and I said it there as well. I'm not trying to convince anybody with this. I'm not trying to make this an anti-Diego Carlos thing. As a defender, he's not somebody that I would like. The way that I would set out a back four. His style is different to the defender I would like. It just is. Like, I don't think he. And we won't get into it. Like, if I could upgrade on him, I would.
I'll do it
and it's
now.
not to say that he was at fault for any of the goals.
When does the window open?
2 days time. But it's not to say that he was at fault for any of the goals today. We're like, this is like we could go into this game, we could have whatever kind of discussion we want about this game, but I think both of us would probably just end up saying the same things we've said on our various different podcasts, like over the last 6 or 8 weeks, lacking a bit of leadership, lacking a bit of nous, lacking a bit of, like, for a team that were as experienced as we were against a team that were as inexperienced as Brighton were. We should have been the people who were able to put our foot in the ball and slow that game down, turn it into an international football match and completely kill it, and we couldn't, and we
especially
can't.
When you win it at that stage at the end of the game, like, you kill it, you win the game 2-1, and we all go, oh.
And you can't, especially since you come back from 1-0 down. Yeah, we've come back from 1-0 down to get to 2-1, a goal out straight after half time. We've enough experience in that team to be able to kill that game, but we couldn't. And it's an Aston Villa thing. Aston Villa can't do that. We can't.
It's a 2024 thing for sure. Like, we've not been able to do that since last
year
thing.
Yeah. Villa have never been able to kill a game. Never been able to kill a game, without being at least two goals up. And even at that, we probably only end up winning by 1, but, and so like, we're getting back, I suppose, to where we are with our defense and stuff like that, because it's the conceding goals that's killing us. Yes, the not scoring goals is an issue too, but to talk about it in a more kind of philosophical way is like, it's too much to ask of that back four that we have at the moment to be able to hold on to a 1-0 lead. And that's a problem. And even it's a problem when Kamara's come back into the team. The only time we've looked like doing it is, or holding on to our lead, was against Man City, and that we conceded in the 94th minute through mistake. So I think I think the way forward, which won't happen now because we'll only have 3 fit centre halves if we don't purchase, is to go to 3 at the back. I think it's the way forward. I've thought that for a while.
So we do score goals, and if we're more clinical, we have chances to score 3 or 4 today, which shouldn't be what you have to do to get points in the Premier League. You should be able to win games 1-0 or 2-1.
Yes.
Obviously,
that's the other problem is up top. We're probably getting a bit predictable up there too. We will have I mentioned there Leicester's going to be a dire watch, guys. We're not going to have Morgan Rogers to carry the ball forward. How we're going to get the ball past the halfway line, I'm not 100% sure. Because it's so Morgan Rogers dominated at the moment, us getting the ball forward. But that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah, we'll save that till the Leicester preview at the back end of the week. IVFC Stato said before, Aston Villa have kept just 6 clean sheets in the Premier League in 37 games in 2024, so effectively a full calendar year, a full season of football, and just twice in the 19 games played this season, which frankly is not good enough for any side, never mind a side that wants to be in the top 5, top 7 of the Premier League, you've got to be keeping clean sheets far more often than that to give yourself any chance. And Villa just can't do that. I know we didn't want to go through the game kind of goal by goal and moment by moment too much. And you were spot on with what you said about I don't want this to be like an anti-Diego Carlos thing, because I don't either. And I've only seen the goal on a couple of the replays on a stream of dubious quality. Where's Diego Carlos for the goal? Why is he so far at the pit? What was he doing? I didn't see like the moment before that. Was he just up for a quick free kick or throw? Like, why was he so far out of position for that opening goal? I know there's still chances to stop it, but one of your defenders isn't anywhere near where he should be. That's probably quite a big problem, no?
Yeah, look, that's why I say he's not he's a defender that engages. Like, he has to have somebody that he can be touch tight to, and if he he can't mark space, and when he does, he can't stay in tune with the game. And this is exactly it. Look, as I say, I didn't want to get into it, and I'm not blaming him for the first goal, because the first goal is Konsa needs to get something on that.
Konsa can still stop that goal, but Carlos being nowhere near the space shouldn't be happening either.
Yeah, but it's one of the biggest reasons I'm unsure of Diego Carlos in the Premier League and in this system is he has to be able to get his hands on somebody, and he rushes to get close to somebody when the ball is in transition. And then when he's in space and when he's not in transition, he keeping his spacing with the other centre half is something that he doesn't do naturally. And these are where my issues come from. And why I think that maybe in the back three he'd be a lot better, and also in Spain where it's less kick and rush. Like, that first goal was just essentially a kick and rush, and he rushed the wrong way. You know, that's what he did. He's not very good at backpedaling. Mings is very good at it, but he's not very good at it, you know. And there's just a couple of instances like that. It's just not my style of defender. It's not my cup of tea. He's good at some aspects of the game. He's not good at others. And I think the longer I see him, I'm not in this system, certainly not, but secondarily in the Premier League, I think because he was imperious for Sevilla. He was a really, really good defender at Sevilla. He was very good. I think the Premier League is just, it doesn't suit him style of play. And that's fair. It's fair. Like, it doesn't suit every player. You know, it just doesn't. And the more I see of him, he's his good games, but then he has his games whereby you're scratching your head going, he's putting the defense under all sorts of pressure. Today, I can't really say that today was massively one of them. It's going back to the conversation or the point I made to you that we've got 4 centre halves. Now we've only got 3. And I'm just not 100% in love with any of them the way that they've played this year, albeit that Mings is only back from injury. If that makes sense. Like, Konsa's having a bit of a down year. You know, from where he was previously.
Let's not get this twisted for people who are listening. We're not blaming tonight's defeat. Feels like it. Tonight's draw on Diego Carlos. Are we, Neil? We're not saying that he is at fault for not winning the game, but as a collective, that defence is not good enough anywhere, really. Luca Dean has been the best defender in that back 4 all season, and his competition is Matson, who probably should be in the side somewhere anyway, to be perfectly honest. And then you've got Mings, who's just come back and has played relatively okay, I think. You know, sometimes he's looked all right, sometimes he's still looked a little bit shaky. Const's been pretty poor overall now for what feels like a while. And Diego Carlos is somebody, obviously, we've spoken about a lot. You throw all those in the mix together and say, go on then, go and keep a clean sheet. They can't do it. That is a collective thing. We're not blaming any single part of that.
And it's not that it's just the uncertainty, I think. It's not like, I don't think Mings is a poor player. I don't think Konsa is a poor player. I don't think Dean is a poor player. I don't think Cash is a poor player. But when we have moments of uncertainty, we get nailed.
Yeah.
Probably, like, it seems we get nailed more than any other team in the Premier League when we have moments of uncertainty, and it gets highlighted. And that's what I'm talking about. There's a lack of confidence there. And look, it's been a transitional back 4 as well. You know, that back 4 it's not like we go out every single week and we can be, you know, that you're guaranteed what the back 4 is going to be. We've had lots of chops and changes and injuries and stuff, you know. So there are reasons behind it. But one of the biggest reasons that we did, and the goal we conceded to level up the game today was just a cracker from Brighton. Like, it was just a brilliant goal. Good goal. Like, there's no one to fault for that goal. I on the 3 views that I saw of it. The first one there is, the Konsa just needs to get rid of it. The second goal well done, Tariq Lamptey. You've absolutely planted that one in the bottom corner, and there's no qualms on that. But Brighton were the better side at that stage. They had 10, 15 minutes of wave after wave of attack. And that's where our experience didn't count in other parts of the field and in our defence, to where we couldn't kill the game. And that's the frustrating part. And that's what dictates the conversation here about what do we need to do in our defence to fix it, because it's been ongoing like this since in the year 2024.
Yeah.
And what do we need to do with our attack to maybe spice that up a small bit? And I think that's where this conversation, I suppose, has gone, whether we wanted it to or not. I think that's where it's gone.
Let's talk about the two penalty decisions in quick fire succession. A kind of moment of, I don't know what it was, probably 5 or 6 minutes with the VAR checks of just strange decisions and kind of this weird feeling. If I was in the stadium, I'd be going, I don't know what's going on, to be honest. I've got no idea. In between those as well, I think there's the deflective shot that Verbruggen saves, which was a decent chance. But stick with the penalties. The first one, Rodgers is brought down by Van Heck, I think it was. Stonewall penalty, in my opinion. I don't know why, firstly, it wasn't given and why it took so long to be checked. And it felt like, and this is never going to be the case, that they kind of go, we've got to level it out now. We've kind of give one stink of a decision. We've got to go and give the other one. But the second chance, I don't think is a penalty, to be honest.
I'm with you.
I think Rodgers gets the last touch on the ball, but the connection that João Pedro makes on Rodgers, it's just like a coming together of two boots, isn't it? Rather than like a foul. He's not brought Rodgers down. Like, there is contact there, but I don't think that's a penalty. I think it's possibly because the first one's not given, and there might be a little bit of subconscious of, we can't not give 2 penalties in 2 minutes at Villa Park, maybe, although that shouldn't be a thing. But the first one is absolute stonewall, and it's only the fact that we've got the second and scored it that kind of erases a little bit of the frustration of why the first one wasn't given. The first one's an absolute stonewall penalty for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. You've said exactly my thoughts. The first one, he doesn't get a touch in the ball. What I can see, there's
that's a tackle that he's bringing Rodgers down. The second one is just a coming together of feet. Yeah. Like, that's not a penalty for me. The second one,
Van Heck is a bit lungy in the first one. No, I'm not saying that he lunges and catches him in the ankle or anything like that, but he doesn't get the ball. He's a bit far away from it. Kind of comes from around from the side. I think if the referee goes to the screen at the side, I think he gives that. And he gives the first one. The second one, I'm looking at. They're also looking at a foul from Kanzan for Bruggen.
I don't know what that was about.
I have no idea what that's about. We had like a similar. There was a similar penalty. If memory serves me right, Cash kind of kicked under Harry Kane's leg. So they were both trying to get the ball, and Cash was trying to kick the ball, kick it over his head to go out. And Harry Kane puts his leg up, got his leg just a small bit higher, had no real intention to play the ball. Cash kicks through Kane's leg, ball goes up in the air, Kane goes down, and there was a penalty given. I seem to remember that happening before.
Yeah,
it's happened to us before. We've seen penalties like that given before. I don't agree with those being penalties, but I'll be honest with you. Like, it's not my job to feel sorry for Brighton fans.
No,
it's my job.
The first one should have been a penalty, so it kind of evens itself out.
Even if it wasn't, even if the first one never happened, because of the second, because we get a penalty for the second one, I'm at the stage now where anything we get, I don't care. It's not good karma. It's not bad karma. It's like the game of football, the way it's been refereed at times, even as we saw last week against Newcastle. Like the swings and roundabouts just literally happen almost in a weekly basis. Before you'd say, it evens out over the course of a year. Now it nearly evens out in the course of a week, because there's so many decisions to be made, and there's so many of them that are made in weird and wonderful ways. I don't really care anymore. I give out when the decision goes against us, but when we get a decision that goes forward, I'm not apologizing to anyone. Screw it. Enough, genuinely, and everyone should be the same, but look,
something I wanted to speak about, and we're going to do another podcast on New Year's Day for like Villa's New Year's resolutions or something, like things Villa need to sort out, basically like a to-do list, if you like. We're going to do another episode in a couple of days, and this is one of the points on there, so I don't want to go too much on this, but the instance of Martinez going over to the screen and to the ref and being like head in his hands, like basically saying, come on, this is like blatant, give it, like kind of getting involved and moaning a little bit. It's something that
the audio dropped out there.
Martinez came over to the screen while the ref was looking at it, and he was like, come on, like, he was like gesticulating that this is a penalty, what are you playing at, hurry up, let's get on with it. And we spoke about this before in the Unai Emery era, that he's very calm, very composed, doesn't get dragged into the politics of slagging off referees, basically, or getting antsy on the touchline. And we kind of said things like, we like that, and we like that kind of classiness, I suppose, to Aston Villa. We want to be better than some of the moaners like an Arteta or somebody like that. But I feel like the time has passed for that kind of conduct, to be honest. I think we've seen a little bit of it with Damien and Monchi tweeting after the Forest game, was it a couple of days ago, or
and after
whichever game it
Newcastle
was, Newcastle. Sorry, yes, tweeting about those decisions there. And you can look at this two ways. You can either say it's a little bit tin pot, it's a bit small time, where you can say fair enough, the decisions we get are crap. What are we going to do about it? We're just going to sit there and take it, or are we going to fight against it a little bit? And I feel like Villa need to be a bit more like that on the pitch as well, where you don't see us crowding the referee. And I know you get booked, or you can get booked, or you're supposed to get booked, but we see other teams doing it. We see other teams like Newcastle making a fuss about the Duran red card, whereas it's us and we just kind of let, we're not going to get involved. But sometimes that kind of making a fuss or having a bit of a reaction definitely sways the referees and the decision makers. That Duran red card, by the way, if Newcastle don't do anything like we wouldn't, I don't think it's given.
The Brovka doesn't run 20 yards to push Duran.
And I think Villa need to be a bit more like that. When's the last time you've seen us kind of crowd a referee or bemoan a decision or stick up for a teammate that's just been sent off? We need a bit more of that, I think.
I guarantee you the first time Amy Martinez comes trundling out of his goal, the referee will absolutely break his shoulder issuing the yellow card to him. Like, he will do it so
I think you have to take a little bit of that, though, especially when you're winning the game as well. I think there's moments where you can be a little bit smart now, the way football is, and just cause a bit of fuss, break the game down a little bit. That kind of thing we don't see from Villa. I think we need to.
I called for it today. Yeah, I like, that's what I was saying there, that we didn't have the smarts to, like, someone go down holding their calf, ball goes out of play, goes out for
Lings could have made more of a fuss for the actual injury.
Holding their calf, or somebody sticks their fingers back their throat, gets sick in the field. Like, there's no ref coming over going to tell you get off the field if you're puking on the field. You know,
I don't want to kind of see us like be like Arsenal or like Arteta has been, like bemoan everything, really like just winding people up. But Villa are too far the other way. We're too nice. We don't get involved in those things, and I think that has an influence. If I was a referee, subconsciously, I'd be thinking, I can probably get away with this at Villa Park because Emery's not going to say anything to me, and the crowd's not going to get on me, or the players aren't going to get on me. Whereas if I'm at St James's, I know the crowd's on me, the players on me, Jason Tyndall's on me. I've got to kind of get everything spot on here, and subconsciously that will have an effect. So Villa need to wise up a little bit. Even things like, and I'm probably taking this point way too far now, but even like the substitutions, making a triple sub. Can we not make the 3 subs over the course of like 5 minutes and just break up the game 3 times rather than 1? Is that not a thing that you do when you're winning as well?
Well, I think with the triple sub, we had to, like, if we're making a triple sub, we have to make it at that stage because you're going to have three substitution windows, and we already had to make a sub for wings.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, like, I've no problem with somebody jogging, clap the fans, and then collapse onto the field, and then, you know, have 4 of their players run over, try and pull him up off the ground or whatever, and drag him over to the sideline, and then he gets a yellow card. The 3 of them get yellow cards, and he's like, you know, we've all seen that happening again before. Look, I'm not saying we do it. I'm not saying we do it Monday the 30th of December against Brighton, but, you know, there'll come a time and a place where we're going to need to get a result. And I don't have confidence in this team holding on to a lead for 35 minutes without grow. And look, people will sit here and say, no, I don't want us to stoop that level. And that's fine. We're not saying we do it in every single game. But there comes a time whereby, like, it's part of the game. That's shit. Sorry, damn! I told you I was going to swear on the podcast. I apologize, but it is. It's horrible. It's bad. But
it's not what you want to see in the game, is it? Is the cliche? No, you don't want to see that, but everyone else is doing it except Villa. It feels like, and if that's what the difference is today by drawing the game and winning it, you absolutely do it and take the 3 points.
Yeah, look, there's more in it, and I know we're rambling when we talk about it here because we're trying to get our thoughts together, and I know the comments are probably like, people will listen back to this and go, no guys, you're totally wrong, and that's fine. We understand, but we're not saying that you go into every game and you turn into like that you're killing the game from minute 1 or whatever. You know, it's break up the play once, make sure there's maybe even make a flashpoint of it, so that it kind of gets emotions going the wrong way. But if you're all you're doing is booting the ball up or booting it out of play, then what happens is tails get up. You need to break the emotion. You need to break the momentum somehow. Turn it into international football. This happens in international football all the time.
Well, if we did that in the 80th minute today and at Forest, we'd be potentially 5 points better off already. Just in those two results.
Yeah.
Because we should have saw the game out today at home when you're winning.
Yeah.
The Lamptey goal is good, but you should still see the game out. And we're 1-0 up away at Forest in the 86th minute or so before Milinkovic scores, and you should at least at that stage get the point. To get nothing, I was fully prepared to be coming onto the podcast, and having won the game, I was expecting at one stage to be like, like we've kind of stumbled through 2024. It feels like we've not particularly played. Obviously, we've had our moments. Like we qualified for the Champions League, we beat Bayern Munich. We've had good times. That 2024, it's not been a crap year, but there's been plenty of moments where we've conceded silly goals. Bournemouth, the comments are reminding us, of course. How could we forget another game that you shouldn't be drawing from that position? Ipswich. There should absolutely be moments where we've got more points in 2024, but we've kind of stumbled our way through it. I thought if we'd have won tonight, we'd be on 31 points, a point off top 5. Chelsea have lost to Ipswich. We're 4 points behind them. They're possible title challengers. We're not a million miles behind them. Nottingham Forest, who have done unbelievably, by the way. Like what a joke of a season they're having. Fair play to them. They're on 37. We'd be on 31. We're only 6 behind them. We were winning at their place with 5 minutes to go. If that result switches, we're level on points with this brilliant Forest side. And that's the fine margins that this Premier League season has got so far this season. It's pretty wild or wacky or whatever adjective you want to go for, that it's so tight. Anyone, it feels like, can beat anybody around this, I don't know, 3rd to 15th or something. Any kind of result could happen. That there's no like, Villa are cut adrift now, that's it, we're going to be in big trouble because we've drawn to Brighton, which is not a terrible result, by the way, on the face of it. I don't think a 2-2 with Brighton is a bad result. When Villa are winning in the game and we don't do the things we've just been talking about of trying to see that out, we should win it from that position, and we don't. But it's not means for like, this is the season gone, because it's still so tight, because one result can change the complexity of that top 10, it feels like. So I'm not like worried about where Villa are heading, but I also can't kind of nail my colours to the mast of, we're definitely going to finish in the top 5, because defensively we're nowhere near good enough for that. But if we can get better in 2025, it can still happen because of the way the rest of the league is. We saw with 2024 at the back end of last season how much worse we were compared to the back end of 2023. All we've got to do is flip that. And I know it's very easy to just flip it, but theoretically, from the results point of view, we've had our back end of last season at the start of this season. So if we can, I don't know, make additions in January, or Tyrone Mings coming in for a spell of 6 to 8 games gets us a bit of consistency, and we get a couple of clean sheets maybe, all of a sudden 2025 can be better than what we've seen so far, and we can finish in the top 6 or wherever. But defensively, that is where it all comes back to. Not keeping clean sheets, not being smart enough to see games out, will cost us, and will cost us a potential European place, because the rest of the league is so competitive that almost anybody could get in there. But if Villa can fix up somehow, and that is not my job to identify that, there still is a season to be had here, but we're just not quite there yet. And if things don't change, we will finish 10th, because we're not good enough at the moment, but we can be. And that's that.
and that's why I think January is... It's going to be dicey, like, FFP or PSR.
I don't think we'll sign anyone, by the way.
I think we have to.
I think we have to. I don't think we will.
I think we will. I think we'll sign people on loan, even if we sign people on loan. I think we'll see players go out on loan. I can't remember what I said it in this podcast or whether I said it in my own, because last half hour is the blur, or the last hour, should I say, is a blur from all the talking I've done about this game. But I spoke about it like, I could probably have told you after 60 minutes today that Nedeljkovic wasn't going to come on, or Philogene wasn't going to come on, or Buendia wasn't going to come on. If they were going to come on for like 3, 4, 5 minutes at the end. We're naming them on the benches and stuff like that. Are they really contributing where we are at the moment? It'll be interesting. Like if Buendia doesn't get the start with Rodgers being out against Leicester, I would go so far as to say there is no point in him being here at the end of January.
He won't play against Leicester. I think Brad Hill will just gamble on Ramsey's fitness.
Jaden Philogene. If he can't get in there with Morgan Rogers being out and Leon Bailey only coming back from injury, I know he's coming back himself. Like that's what I'm saying. You shift on a couple of those players on loan. You bring in a couple of more players on loan, or maybe they get Daniel Malin, or maybe they get a centre half. And I know I'm talking about 2 attacking players there, but if Pau Torres is out for 3 months with a broken foot, I think we have to sign someone. I think they'll say, screw this. We have to find a way PSR wise to sign someone.
I don't know how that looks like, by the way, because obviously in the summer we couldn't do the business we wanted to, and nothing's changed. So players have to leave, but who those players are and who wants them is
something has changed, because we've gotten money in from, so like it depends on what our current income is in comparison to last year. So do we spend the money that we would have in the summer now, or do we say, right, we just have to hold pat, we're not going to get top 4, let's concentrate in the Champions League, let's solidify mid-table, and then go again in the summer? There isn't any fan that's going to want to hear that. And if Chris Heck is trying to get people into GA plus, if we're going to get the new Villa, the warehouse all set up by this time next year, you know, you have to continue incremental progression at some stage. And that's why I think potentially it would come in the form of loans. There are plenty of good players out there that we can loan. Plenty of good players we can buy for 10 million. You know, it's just, look at the team we played against today. They're a team made up of 10 to 12 million pound players max in a lot of areas that have gone on to shine and are bought specifically for a system and are playing it. And so, you know, so I would hope that we've our work done. Now, I'm not saying we buy 18, 19-year-olds, but, you know, it's a case of, if we had to go out and loan I can't even think of anybody at the moment. I can't think of anybody, especially a central defender off the top of my head. But if we had to go out and get somebody to cover for Pau Torres, if he's out for 3 months, we have to go back in for Clement Longley. Oh, no, we can't. They're letting him Madrid now. But you know what I'm saying?
There's also an element of, and I'm going to end in a sec because we're going to run away with ourselves here. There's a moment of, I don't know, 60 seconds or something. I'm probably being ridiculously harsh here, of like 3, I think, pretty poor, low-level quality moments of play that needed to be better for where Villa were in the game. And that was, I don't know what order they came in, but I think McGinn, first of all, had a chance to put a ball across the box and hit the first man. It's like, okay, wow, okay. All you've got to do is clear the first man in this situation to do something, and we couldn't do that. And Nana in the middle of the pitch either slipped or lunged for it and didn't quite get it or something. He did that twice and gave possession away. We recovered and got it back with our defenders, but it's just a moment of, come on, look, we're trying to chase the game here, and we've not hit the first man, and we've not even gathered possession properly in the middle. And the ball eventually finds its way to Watkins, who just doesn't even get a shot away because he's stumbling on trying to get it over to his right foot, and the chance is just closed away. And there's 60 seconds of, there's 3 moments there to get possession quickly from Onana and get it back forward, and he couldn't. McGinn doesn't even clear the first man, and then Watkins doesn't get his shot away. We can talk all we want about PSR and new signings, but if things like that are happening in the game when Villa are trying to get back into it, and the quality is just not there because the confidence isn't there, or for whatever reason, it doesn't matter, does it? The players we've got have got to be better. First of all, we've got to see games out better. We can't just rely on, oh, we need to go and spend another 50 million because we're in trouble. And we've seen it this season. These players have been better. When we beat Man City, we were, oh, this team's actually really good. But we need to find that consistency much more in 2025 and get something out of these players more so than we have. Leon Bailey, another example, who played okay. He had chances. I had 4 or 5 shots maybe on the edge of the area. None of them of any good quality though, really. And it only takes a couple of those to be of, he's a more confident player or whatever it is, and he scores one of them, and we win the game from one moment of something that happened in the game, but not very well because we're just not very good at the moment. We had those chances, and that's what we need to see in 2025. Better from this squad, because we know they've got it, but for some reason it's just not quite there. But as I said, we're going round and round in circles here. It's not been a great 2024 for the most part. Like I said before, there's been good moments. We've had good games, and we've qualified for the Champions League and played in the Champions League for the first time, played in the European Cup for the first time in 40-odd years. Like, that's a good year. But we've seen far too many opportunities where Villa haven't been good enough, and that absolutely needs to change next year for us to do anything. And by that, I mean qualify for Europe again.
Yeah. And look, I wonder, do they just recall Samuel Ling Jr.?
Potentially, yeah. And Louis Barry.
And, well, Louis Barry plays. If Louis Barry plays for Aston Villa, he can't be loading out again. So it's not a case of bring him back, play him for a couple of games in the league and see how he gets on. If he's not, we can always loan him out again. No, he can't. He's already played for Stockport.
I thought you could play for 3 clubs in a season.
I thought it was 2. Maybe I could be wrong. Don't know.
I feel like it might be 3.
But it's like, even at that, give him a shot. I don't know. It's not for me, but like as I say, it's why not? Enzo Barnechea, does he come back? Do we just recall all our loans? Maybe. I don't know.
That is a strategy, isn't it? It's something.
It looks like we probably will be. It looks like we probably will be. I think Junior's not getting any minutes at Bologna, so we probably will go
Enzo, I don't think.
Barnechea, they've just changed their manager. Valencia, isn't it Cabaret or what? Your man from West Brom, isn't he got in at Valencia?
Corberan,
so they've gotten rid of Ruben Baraka, which is a shame, because I think he's the perfect type of midfielder that Enzo could have learned from, but he wasn't getting any game time there. So bring them all back, see what we can do with them, and loan them on then again afterwards. I mean,
that is a possible PSR fix, isn't it, to bring those back, because we've already got them. But we'll talk about transfers in the next week or so. It's a stacked month with Leicester, West Ham in the FA Cup, Everton. I mean, that's a good little run there for Villa to find a bit of form. Arsenal at the Emirates, and then West Ham in the Premier League, sandwiched either side of Monaco and Celtic. Let's see where we are come the first week of February. That'll tell us a lot more about where Villa are in terms of personnel, and where they are in the Champions League, whether it's the playoffs or the top 8, where we are in the Premier League by then. And you're into the final stages come February, not quite, but almost, I suppose. We'll have played 23, 24 games out of 38 in the league, so you're kind of getting there. Let's see where we are then. If we're still kind of 5 or 6 points away from the Champions League places, I think that's a good position to be in. I don't think we can ask for much more at the moment, the way that we're playing. I think the longer that extends into the season, if we're still 5 or 6 points away from the Champions League come April, I still think that's a pretty good position, because that allows you to attack the final, 7 or 8 games. You string together 4 or 5 wins. I know that people will hear that when we've just drawn to Forest and the run that we've had over the season so far. As if we're going to win 4 out of 6 or whatever. But by then, maybe things have changed. That's all it takes to all of a sudden propel yourself up the league, if it's still going to be pretty tight. So I'm not concerned for the long haul, but absolutely things need to improve, I think, is the message to end 2024.
And I think they will. And it's about getting the solid nature of this team back again. It's funny, you go into these games, and most games I'd nearly back Villa to score 2 goals. Nearly every game I'd say that we've played. So you think if we have to score. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's the problem. Is we look to concede 2 nearly every game we play. So really, you solidify that defense somehow, some way, somehow. I'm just reading here. Sorry, I was in case you were wondering what I was doing. I was just reading there, and it seems Emery seems to think that there is a broken bone in Tara's foot. So Dr. Neil got it right in game.
Well done, Neil. Thanks, mate.
Yeah. Fuck, I wish I didn't. If anybody knows any witch doctors, remember that Robin van Persie or something like that thought that he had ruptured his Achilles, and didn't he go to some witch doctor or somewhere, they started injecting pig blood into his foot and stuff. Yeah, maybe if anybody know any witch doctors, get on to Birmingham Mail there and let them know, and then they can pass the details on to Paul Torres.
Maybe it'll just be a massive bowl of paella. Maybe that'll help.
That could be it. Yeah.
All right, okay, let's call it a day there. Neil, thank you very much for joining me and doing 2 podcasts in one evening for that game. Massively appreciate it, as I'm sure all the viewers and listeners will do as well. We will be doing another episode on Wednesday. That should be out mid-morning for those that are gearing up for... Actually, no, that'll be New Year's Day. So you'll probably be hungover, won't you? So a bit of a hangover cure on New Year's Day, potentially, for a podcast about the rest of the season to come and Villa's 2025 New Year's resolutions. Thanks to everyone who watched along live on YouTube. 400 people still here at 11 o'clock on Monday. Thank you for that. If you're listening on Catch Up, you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts, or there is a comment section on Spotify now. So if you want to leave a comment there, you can do so. Neil, thank you for joining me. Thanks everyone for watching or listening, and we'll see you Wednesday. Have a happy new year, and we'll see you then. Ta-ra.